Hello. Probably don't know I'm watching yet, but I'm here. Got a couple of messages to post out. Ah, we've got Nebulon here. Hello, Neb. And Starston as well. Hey, guys. Making a start in just a couple of minutes. Just a couple of places are regularly posted. Mr. Grintapo's here as well, calling in for duty. Yes, you've got your lovely mod status on Twitch now. Sadly, the automated bot didn't work last week when we were doing the show, which it should have done. It should have done. Okay. Okay. So we'll just wait for a few people to get in. Hopefully the audio is nice and clear. Brian's been changing settings again. So if you can't hear me, I can turn things up a little bit more. Is a fine, got some Belgian cherry beer for today's stream. Nice, I'm drinking Iron Brew. So the lovely orange, and that looks in a green glass, but it is bright orange, I assure you. Oh look, there we go, bright orange. It's got to be good for me, right? Colours like that must be really good. We've got Soren as well. Hello, good to see you. Nebulon says we sound good, actually. Great, excellent. I did have a play with the settings after Brian had tweaked them, but we're getting set up for the 24-hour stream and testing some things out with that last night. So, yeah, lots to arrange for that. Okay. Any bets on how long the bot's going to take to ping today? Yesterday, or Thursday, it was like on the dot. I think it was on the dot. We started at 5:02 and it was after 5 minutes, but I suspect today it might take a little while. 4 minutes. Oh, we've got Alchemist KB as well. Good evening. And Sashimi as well. And EQ Tree? I don't know. 12 or 6 PST. Yeah, that might be about right. I think you might be just about right with that. But this is what we're going to be rebuilding today. So I have a spare kit for it that's been laid in a drawer for God knows how long. It has been built once before, but I've desoldered it. It had some horrible tactiles in Utamu Sky switches, which didn't fit this board at all. So I've taken them out, and it's now ready to rebuild. And this is the Noxary 268 AG. So we go. This kit in here I built a few weeks ago. It's got retool blacks, I think. Yeah, retool blacks. But yeah, we'll be rebuilding that today with the cream switches, which I've just spent all yesterday lubing and getting ready for the stream. So interested to see how these feel once they're in a board. In fact, it says Sunday Fun Day J Day. Well, yeah. How similar is that plate to the KBD 67? So the plate is actually quite similar. I don't have a KBD 67 plate to show you. Oh, I do. Let me... I do have a KBD 67 plate. So you have to remember that, yes, this is the one, that this is a fixed plate, so it's fixed ISO. But if I lay the two over the top, you can see that whilst the layouts are broadly the same, there are more mount points on the Noxary board. So this is top mount, is the brass one. This is top mount, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 along the top, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 along the bottom, all equally spaced. The KBD 67 one has got 3 across the bottom and 3 across the top, not evenly spaced. That gap's shorter than that gap, so it's longer there. But this is for a bottom mount board, so it is slightly different. So the edge of the plate actually is technically sandwich mount, sorry, not bottom mount. So the edge of this all rests on the bottom of the KBD 67 case. So it's like that on the bottom of the case, resting, not just on the mount points. So it's not true bottom mount, it's more of a sandwich mount in my head. But yeah, so that's the plate for it. So the plates are really similar. In terms of actual layout, you can see that it's broadly the same. I've just had mine fixed ISO. If I do this the other way, you'll be able to see where I've had the other one fixed. There we go. That's the difference between the two. And Way has finally confirmed as well that my personal KBD67 that he has been having made for me in a special colour is finally ready, and he's going to ship it in the next couple of days. So he's taking a couple of days vacation at the minute, but finally mine will be on its way. So I've built a couple for other people, but finally mine will be here soon. Elmo, thank you very much for the Twitch Prime sub, and Alchemist KB, thank you very much, guys. That's 2 months for each of you. That's really, really appreciated. Thank you. Always supports the channel. What did you lube with, Jay? So these creams are lubed with PTFE. So I've gone for a dry lube on these because I know that a lot of times it's difficult to get thin lubes like Krytox 104, 5 or 6 to stick to them. And I didn't fancy putting a grease in them, so I've put a PTFE dry lube powder on these. It's basically bike lube. It's this stuff. So what I do is just put this stuff in a pot, dip a brush in it, wipe it all over the stems, leave them to dry, put a second coat on, leave them to dry, and then rebuild the switches. And then the springs have been lubed with Krytox 106 separately. So there we go. Elmo says, "Hey there, I'm late." Nah, you're not late. You're not late. The bot's not pinged yet. You're only late if you come after the bot's pinged. Pilot XJ says, "Hello, hello." And Starson has subbed with Twitch Prime, subscribed for 13 months on a 13-month streak. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you very much, dude. Really appreciate that. We've got Querdinker and Mr. Evil Genius himself as well. Good evening. Hello to you, gents. And Querdinker subscribed with Twitch Prime. That's 3 months. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate that. That's really kind of you. We do, love all the subs, and thank you all for your support. It's genuinely appreciated, far more than I could ever say. So thank you very much for that. Oh, and the bot pinged. Oh, so it did, yeah. Notifications are turned off when I'm streaming, so I have to try and catch my eye for it. We'll make a start in just a couple of minutes. Okay. And Nia Jonathan says hello as well. Just in time then. 159 says, "Hey baby." We've got Jan as well. Bonjour, bonjour. Jan has been kind enough to, as we discussed the other day, send us a set of modern dolts, which we might have a set for giveaway on Top Clack soon. So keep your eyes peeled. Maybe Thursday's show even. Maybe Thursday's show. And my personal set's coming as well. So I've been talking to Jan about the modern dolts set. It looks really close to renders. I know Martin and Pusher have already got theirs. It looks fantastic. It looks like it's a really nice, cool grey. Not quite so warm as the grey on Space Cadet is. So I'm really looking forward to getting that set in the post. Hopefully in the next couple of days. It's somewhere between Netherlands and the UK right now, along with some other bits and pieces I ordered from my keyboard.eu. So hopefully it'll be here before Thursday's show. Name it says 12:06 PST. I was right. Yeah, you were right. You're spot on, actually, dude. Yep, 12:06. Yeah, I agree. Well, it's different. It's 8:06 PM, but yes, 12:06 for you. Tracer Base says, "What makes a retooled black retooled, or where could I find blacks that have been retooled? I'm new." So the moulds that Cherry make their switches out of, they get old, and instead of being nice and tight over time, they get looser and looser and looser, and the parts don't come out of the mould with quite the same tolerances as they used to do. Every now and again, Cherry will make new moulds, and that's where we get the whole retooled version from. That's where the terminology comes from. In the middle of last year, there was a whole new batch of MX Blacks that came out that had been retooled. So instead of having moulds that had decayed over time and were a little bit looser than what they should be, they fixed that. And last year, across the summer and into September, October sort of time, the retool blacks that you could buy from Arrow and a few other places were really, really good. That being said, that quality has dropped off because now the moulds are worse, and they'll have to retool again at some point in the future. In terms of retooled, any that you buy now are going to be stock on the moulds that were introduced last year, so you don't need to worry too much about that. 159 has gifted a tier 1 sub to Jan as well, given 19 subs in this channel, so thank you very much for that, 159, and congrats, Jan. Well done. Basically, any non-vintage black is retooled. Well, I disagree. If you got a cherry black from 2 years ago, that's probably not, able to be classed as retooled. Kiwayaru, I don't know how I'm pronouncing that. I'm pronouncing it wrong. I apologise. What are your opinions on the Keycap number 160? I have one coming in 2 days. So I built a number 160 on stream a couple of months ago. It completely reset my expectations of what a $500 custom should be, because it was fantastic. It's amazing, it sounds great, it looks fantastic, and it felt beautiful to type on. So I was over the moon with how well that came out. Sadly, it wasn't my board. I built it for a friend, Tronics, he may be watching, so if he is, thank you very much for that, for letting me build that for you. But yeah, I absolutely adore them, and one thing I want is a number 160 TKL. Nebula, who's watching, knows exactly why I want that. We've also got Necro Woman. Thank you very much for joining, Yulia. It's good to see you. Retool Blacks when? Soon. Who else are we talking about? They physically changed the design of the Switch in 27. That's what a retool originally meant. Yeah, pretty much that hand thing. Yeah, I didn't want to go too far into it, but yes. And the design change came with new molds, which were very smooth. Yes, that's pretty much it. Mr. Petrov, 1,000 bits. Chris Swires, 1,000 bits. Oh, thank you both. Appreciate that. And Talisman Solutions with his traditional 1,111 bits. All the bits. Thank you very much, guys. That's really kind of you. Quedeca says, looking very much forward to trying out Gator inks. They seem to be a nice linear option. Yes, I have Gator inks in my other J01 build. So I have this build, which is a carbon fibre plate, as you can see here. And this has got ink switches in. You can't really see them, but they are in there. And it's a hoverboard, so it's terrible to do a sound test on, but you know, you get what it is. It's really nice. I really like ink switches. Elmo Space, I'm still sad that I missed the number 165 group buy. I'm still sad that I missed the number 1 TKL group buy. I'm hoping for a number 2. We'll see. Hoping for a number 2. Yeah, a number 2. Osiris TV said, what's up, Jay? If you guys haven't, do go check out Mechs on Decks on YouTube. Osiris and Chewy are doing a great new show, so do go check that out, guys. Tracer Base, if you have the money, Gator and Yellows are great, so are inks. Yes, absolutely. LBI Bass says, love the J01. Yep, it's here in all its glory. And Tefrem says, hola, Jay. Hello, good to see you. It's a very nice board, but it's not for me. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, no, everyone likes them. I don't think it was a group buy kit sold out instantly. Of the number 160 and 65, yeah, they did sell out pretty quick. WizBlue as well. Hey man, good to see you, dude. We are building a Noxary 268 AG today. I've got it built up here with Retool Blacks. We're going to take this build out. We're going to put another build in, which is going to be basically the same layout, but it's going to be with cream switches. The main reason I'm building this today is because my Antique TX60 didn't turn up, my HHKB board. That's somewhere in customs at the moment. And the second reason is Zondan doesn't have a 268 to take to the UK meetup, which is in a couple of weeks, and he asked if he could borrow mine, and I said yes, but only if I've got time to rebuild it. So one thing led to another, and that's why I'm going to rebuild this today. Jay, what are my favourite linears? My favourite linears right now are inks. I absolutely adore them. So Gator on ink switches, they're smooth, they feel nice, they sound good. Absolutely prefer them over pretty much anything else. They're a good price. They're very similar to Telios, but I think they sound slightly different and a little bit better. But then again, I've not lubed Telios with 205 grade 0, which I have done with the inks, and that's how I like to lube them. But then again, you've got the price difference between Telios and inks, and at the minute, for me, inks winning out because I think the smoky housing looks nicer. So there we go. Elmo Space says, I am getting an E6.5. Yep, join the club, I'm getting one too. Tronic says hi. So whoever was asking about the number 160, Tronics was the guy I built it for. He's got another build that he's putting in it soon as well with a partial plate, so I can't wait to see that. Zemus says, inks out of stock. Yes, they are, but there'll be more soon. But they are amazing, they're really good. Mr. Petrov says, tried Christo 129 yet at top pack. No, so I've got the Satisfaction 75 and the Brutal 60 coming from Upas at Cannon Keys this week. I'll be building them on stream next week, and he has put some 129 and 111 lube, I think, in there as well for me. So yeah, I can't wait to get hold of those, build those next week. That's going to be a double build stream, so it'll probably be a little bit longer than my normal 2-hour streams. It might be closer to 3 or 4 hours depending, but I'm really excited to do that build stream.
Upes subscribed with Twitch Prime. Thank you very much. That's 4 months. Super happy to sub to Top Clack. Can't wait for the 24-hour stream. It's coming. We spent most of last night. In fact, I got bollocked by my wife talking about it until after midnight last night with Brian. So it is happening. It is coming. We've got plenty of ideas. So watch this space. Sorry, says I'm still waiting for my invoice for my Antique Copper TX60. Yeah, that's what I've got. Antique Copper TX60 HHKB. I just emailed. In fact, Neo Jonathan, who's watching, emailed Kin for me, copied me in on the email, said, "Do you have any in stock?" He said, "Yes." Next day it was shipped. That was Thursday of last week. I got the notification it was in UK customs on Friday, and now it's Sunday, and I have to wait for a couple more days until it gets here. I think one of my family was through the lube out you sent me. You passed. Oh man. Push me and then touch me until I can get my. Yeah. It looked empty. I think that's why I threw it out. Fair enough. Okay, right, guys. We're going to crack on with the build anyway. First of all, so first thing I'm going to do is take apart the old board and remove the build that's in here at the moment. So this, as I say, is the 268AG, number 13 of 22. I don't know if you guys can see that on here. I am going to infill this weight at some point. I've got some nice new black 3.0 acrylic paint to do exactly that job with. So this was made by an artist who was a little bit annoyed that Anish Kapoor had the marketing rights and be the only artist allowed to use Vantablack. So he's made this, which is very, very close. It's almost as dark as Vantablack. So yeah, so I'm going to be sorting that weight out with that. Maybe later on today, maybe tomorrow. Not sure. Depends on how much time I have. Tactile or linear on number 160. I would go linear on that board any day of the week. Yeah, just linear because it'll feel nice, it'll sound nice, and it'll be really good. I'm not too young for that. I know that song. Maybe I'm too old for it more than too young for it. Yeah, the thing is, on the number 160, it's come with the brass plate as standard, and I find that if you put tactiles in it, especially the hyper tactiles we have today, they don't work so well with the brass plates. You want to do something a little bit different for tactiles. I think I prefer carbon fibre for tactiles right now, and I also prefer some of the plastic plates we get, so POM and PC. I've tried some of those out. Those are probably my favourites for tactiles right now, which is completely different to what I'd have told you 6 months ago. So things change, times change, and we all make new decisions. So I'm just going to remove all of these screws one by one. Just want to point out that while some people had issues with their 268 and screws, I've not had any whatsoever. Oh, that one doesn't fit. Let me grab another screwdriver. Oops. Just going to have one with a longer stem. I think the thing is, I'm going to call you Kiwi. Kiwi. Everyone's got different thoughts and different feelings, and things change in this hobby that fast that what I would recommend 1 week or month will change drastically as I try new things. And I can only advise you on what I've tried and what I haven't tried. Nebulant comes up with some really good points. He really likes tactiles in his brass plates and linear in the FR4 one. Aluminium is kind of in the middle of those. And as Talisman said, it's all preference, but preferences change over time. There's no right or wrong answer. Let's try not to let these screws go everywhere. Okay. Oops. Come on out. There we go. I think that's all of them. 2, 4, 6, 8. Was that all we did? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, missing 2. Where did the screwdriver go? There it is. And then we're missing 1. Yeah, just in this top corner. We've got Teihei types in and Mr. Nathan Kim. Teihei preference for. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. So I did say I've not had any trouble with screws at all on this board, but it looks like we've got a troublesome one here. Okay, I'm just going to try and go to a bigger screwdriver. So this one is just skipping a little bit at the minute. There we go. Now that should want to come out. Nope. Let's see if we can get the board apart now. Okay, so this one screw in the top corner is just been a little bit frustrating. Build string could be over before it's even started here, but we'll persevere. Yeah, exactly. No issues with the screws, then immediately has an issue with the screws. Someone go ping Zondat and tell him. There we go. Okay, so there we go. That's all of those removed. I'll be careful and putting it back in that top corner. Move them to the side. So as you can see, guys, this is the inside of the boards. That's the brass weight, just held in with 2 screws. You can see the patented Zon ledge at the front here, which is how he allows it to get so low at the front. And then just on the inside, you can see that we've got the 5 mount points across the top, 5 mount points across the bottom as well. There we go. So that screw away immediately. I'm just going to replace them all. I think it's more the hole than the screw. The screw was fine, and the screw wasn't rounding. So what was happening is just in this top corner where the USB is. I don't know if you guys can see that on camera, but there is some kind of dirt around the edge of the hole. I think that's just showing up there. That is what was affecting it. So it looks like that gunk could come out of it whilst the board's been here. I think that's the issue more than anything else. What I will probably do is I'll probably just get my tap set in there, and I'll just give that a proper clean out and just not put that screw in when I rebuild the board today, and then it'll be nice and sorted out for the meetup. So yeah, so there's on ledge at the front of here, just so you can see, guys, is the inside of the case here is sloped, and then when it gets to this bit, it's actually flat and level with the front. So if I show you from this angle, you should be able to see that. Maybe you can't, maybe it's difficult to show you, but there's kind of like a slope here, and then as you get to this bottom bit, it's just flat. So that this crease here, it goes level with the bottom of the board there. So it's something Zondat refers to as the Zon ledge. Okay. Just remove the screws that are holding the plate in now. One. This is 2. Again, super tight screws. We'll come back to that. Should just lift out. I think it's just held in by the brass. Definitely not touching the aluminium anymore. Catch up with chat. Oof, now we've all fixed it. Teletypes Lord perhaps, but not Saviour. Too much responsibility involved there. That's true. Those are really small screws for holding the case together. Yeah, these are all M2. These are actually the same screws as what we use for stamps. So let me just show you. So this is a screw for a stabilizer, and this is a screw for the Noxary 268. They're actually identical. They are literally the same screws. They're a slightly different colour because they're made from a slightly different material, but other than that, they are identical. They've got the same bit of kit. Where's my magnetic mat? It's just over here. I should really be using it, you're right. Let's, in fact, do just that. I don't know why I didn't use it in the first place. That's a good point.
There we go. And then these ones are the plate ones. Oops. Now just to lift this out, and then we can just grab these screws. As I say, the brass is just a little bit tighter and holds them in place. There we go. Come on. Who'd have thought that the brass would have been what held these in place? I'm just going to try pushing them up from the underneath. There we go. This hasn't been taken apart or rebuilt since the first time I built it, so it's been like this for probably over a year now. Just try and get this last screw out. Okay. There we go. So that's that set removed. We'll come back and we'll use the caps from this later on. I plan on reusing these caps on the board because they're nice. It's DSA Alchemy if anyone wants to know. So go support Chris Wise. There is a DCS version coming, so go support Chris and buy the DCS version as well. And then hopefully I'll convince him to do GMK at some point in the future. Okay. Now we've got the board apart, let's catch up with the chat before we start to build our stabilisers. Cryos, Woden and Hart are the three horsemen of the apocalypse when it comes to vintage keyboards. Abso-freaking-lutely, I agree. Hasu I would also consider another keyboard saviour, yep. Gio's been asleep till 3. Lazy man, lazy. Woden is just a cherry fanatic really. Yeah, but he's a good guy. What do you guys do to effectively deal with waiting for keyboard parts syndrome? Build something else. Doesn't matter what, just build something. What else are we talking about, guys? So the circle never ends. Yeah. Where's your desk mat for building? I don't have a desk mat out today because they're all in the wash. They just needed washing. They were dirty, filthy, so they're in the wash. Is anyone else looking forward to when novel keys will come out with a 65%? Yes, soon this year. Watch this space, it's happening. And we've got John Travolta, fan 49. Hello, hello, good to see you. What else are we talking about? Rip getting shit done. Yeah, it happens. Chunky Naruto Boy 3. Hello, good evening, Katisa. Okay. There we go. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we're just going to clip and lube these stabilisers. You can see all the dirt that's come out of that board as we're taking it apart there. So just as always, we're going to take off the 2 legs. So we're going to take off the leg on this corner, this leg here, and we're going to take off the leg in this back corner, this one here, and make sure they're nice and flush on the bottom. There we go. That's one clipped nice and neatly, and as you can see, that's flush on the bottom. So we're going to rinse and repeat that across the remaining 5 stabilizer inserts. That's another one done. Halfway there now. Just keep on clipping these. Okay. John Travolta fan 47 says, do I like Zeal stabs? I don't dislike them. I just prefer to use GMK screwing. I think they just feel a little bit nicer, they sound a little bit nicer, and they look a little bit nicer as well. I prefer the dark look of the stabilizers to the clear ones, but that's all personal preference. Okay. Bledin says good evening, good sir. You're cooking something, I assume. Yeah, dropped in more cooked dinner. Yeah, we usually do. Why do you care so much about keyboards? Such waste of money, you could donate to a charity. I donate regularly to many charities. My mum recently passed away from cancer, and I am fully in support of a lot of charities here in the UK, especially Macmillan Cancer Care and Wheatfields Hospice, which is where my mum spent the last few days of her life. My keyboard hobby is what I spend my disposable income on, not what I spend anything else on. Yes, some of them are expensive, but that's fine. I also collect cars for a hobby, and you know, I could donate that money if I wanted to, but that's completely different. I earn my money, it's my money. I'm completely happy with what I donate and don't donate to charity, and I'm completely happy with what I spend on myself personally. I don't have children or anything like that, so why shouldn't I enjoy the money I earn? Simple as that. Mr. Gunsepo, matter of fact, Jay did donate a lot recently. Yeah, I do a lot of donations to charity, but I enjoy this as a hobby. This is my hobby. You know, people might go out and spend money on beer and drink in the pub. I spend it at home building keyboards. Thank you, John Travolta. Thank you. There we go. Hey, Jay says Luna Swix the third. Good evening, good sir. Jay Space, very well said. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Talisman Solutions has just given a tier 1 sub to Junkie Naruto Boy 3. That's 114 gift subs in the channel. Thank you very much, Talisman. Thank you so much for the support, dude. You sat high up there on the 84,444 bits and the top of 114 gift subs as well. Just geo-catching you up on that one at the minute. Okay, so now what we're going to do is put the stabilizers together. So in terms of these, we're going to put the insert inside the housing. Now the insert side with 2 holes that you can see just there. That goes to the front, just like so. We're going to then take one of the wires, we're going to push that into the bottom hole in the insert and then clip it into the front. And then we're going to rinse and repeat that on the second side and then on the remainder of the stabilizers as well. Into the bottom hole, and then clip it into the front of the stabilizer housing. Just check it all moves nicely. That's one done. Move across onto the next ones. Talisman Solutions, howdy, I think I've seen you before in Tehei's chat. Yeah, I think you've seen us all in Tehei's chat at some point or other. We all follow Mr. Nathan Kim. He is one of the leaders of our nice little community in our niche area of hobby. And it's always worthwhile spending some time with him. In fact, we're hoping he might become a guest on our 24-hour stream on Top Clack soon, which I know he's already had a chat with Brian about. Maybe I should get into keyboards. Chunky Naruto Boy, absolutely you should. They're a good hobby, nice, easy way to relax. Can be fun to collect. It can be nice to just have something if you type for a living, if you're inputting data for 10 hours a day at work or something, and you want a nice tool to do that with, then having a custom keyboard is absolutely a way to help you enjoy that better. Okay. Talisman Solution is a scholar and a gentleman. Absolutely, I completely agree. We're all charitable here. Welcome to the club. Looking forward to seeing your charitable expression as well. There we go. That's absolutely it. Kiwi says, is the Band-Aid mod worth? Personally, I don't like the Band-Aid mod, but there's no reason why you can't use it, or if you like it. I feel that the reason why I clip the cherry steps, to be honest, and the reason why I take the 2 legs off of the inserts is to stop the mushiness and of the bottom out. I find that when you put the Band-Aid mod back underneath, if you're lubing your stabilizers, over time they get mushy as the lube soaks into the Band-Aid underneath. That's just my personal thought on it. Other people feel differently, they lube their stabs differently, and some people use different materials such as hockey tape rather than band-aids or plasters as we call them in the UK. So there's multiple different ways of doing it. I personally prefer not to, and to just use the standard stabilizer in the plate as it is. Have you lubed those creams? If so, what with? Yes, these creams are lubed with a PTFE lubricant, which is Finish Dry Line in this circumstance. They've had 2 coats, so apply with a brush liberally, let it dry. We'll go through them all one by one with a brush, just dipping it in the fluid, and once they've dried, then going through the whole lot again and putting a second layer on as well. Okay. Mr. Giuseppe said, I stopped doing it and never looked back. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that Sashimi said, I don't like it because it makes it more mushy. Gio says, don't give away too many details. Oh, okay, alright, okay. Nathan hasn't been band-aiding this year either. Yeah, a lot of people are moving away from it. Mr. Petrov says, Jay, do you use stock GAT ink springs or do you respring? I respring everything. Just everything. There's very few things I use stock springs in unless I'm building for someone else, and that's what they've asked me to do. I usually use Sprit springs because I find they're the best on the market. Whatever your thoughts on Sprit are, his product is the best out there right now as far as I'm concerned. So that's what I use. How do I feel about the stock GAT ink spring? I think it's the second best spring on the market for a stock spring. The first best being the Gateron Yellow. The Gateron ink is the second best one so far. Well done showed that a clipped GMK stab with cap on will never hit the PCB anyway. Yeah, again, yeah. So this is the point here. I can probably articulate this quite well. So if you imagine my fingernail is the PCB, and that's just underneath the stabilizer. Once you put a cap on here, if I push this hard, it'll hit my fingernail. I can feel that hit my fingernail. You can see it just there coming through and hit my fingernail. But if you have a cap on it, what happens is it limits how far that can go down, and it stops it just there, so it can't ever go through the bottom of the stabilizer. At least that's the case with GMK keycaps. Other keycaps may differ. Did I order any linears? Yes, I did. I ordered a few of them. I think I got 120 or 200, something like that. I'm not quite sure. What grams on the Sprit? I use usually either 72s or 68s on linears, and then I use 72s or 78s on tactiles. Sometimes I'll go up to 100 grams. I do have a 125 gram KBD 661, which I use quite a lot regularly. That's nice to type on. So yeah, and I've got a 150 gram bag of springs to use on something at some point. Maybe a giveaway board or something, I don't know. Yeah, okay, so there we go, guys. Let's crack on and get these stabilizers lubed. So I'm just going to grab my lube and a brush. Slightly less prepared than I usually am today. There we go. So as always, I'm just using dielectric grease. Your mileage may vary. Feel free to use 205 grade 0 or whatever lube you prefer. My preference is to use dielectric grease because it's nice and thick, but not too thick. It's PCB proof. In other words, you can't damage a PCB with it, and because it's dielectric, and it's also really, really cheap. The first thing I'm going to do is just on the outside of the stabilizer housing, sorry, the slider, I'm just going to lube just there. I'm then going to turn that over, lube the other side. Just a nice thin layer, doesn't need much. Once I've done that, I'm going to dip back in and get a blob on the brush. I'm going to go into the back of the stabilizer where we can see the wire, and I'm going to push that blob as far in as I can get and twizzle it so it coats as much around the wire as possible. I'm then going to turn that over. I'm going to do the same thing up the front, get a blob on the brush, and then I'm going to follow the wire into the stabilizer housing, again wiping as much as I can. Any excess, I'm just going to wipe on the edges as I come down. I'm going to turn it over, and then just on the inside I'm going to put a piece about the size of a grain of wax, sorry, a grain of rice, just up on the inside there as well. And then we're going to rinse and repeat that on the other side. There's enough wax on the brush to do the sides of the slider. Sorry, enough grease, sorry, not wax. I don't know why I'm talking about wax so much. There we go. Then we're going to go a blob into the back. We're going to massage that all the way through, as much as we can. And we're going to go into the front. And then as we come down, we're just going to go around the edges of the wire there. And then a piece about the size of a grain of rice just on the bottom. And that's one stabilizer lubed. Going to move on to the next one. IKEA switches. Yes, IKEA switches are coming. They won't be too far. I think they get shipped out to My Keyboard EU and Novel Keys and wherever else sold them this week. Actually, I think they're expected to arrive early this week. Tighten the Madman for the example uses. With its 100 gram switches. 100 grams is alright. It's dailyable is 100 grams if you get used to it. Might not be pleasant, might not be the most productive, but it is doable. I swear the 68 Sprit in my Holy Pandas feel heavy in the 78 grams Zelio. That's probably just the tactility on the Holy Pandas, being honest with you, and the friction within inside the switch. But Sprit springs are far more accurate than Gateworm springs, as far as I can tell so far. Okay, almost done here. Just going to finish this one off, and then move on to the last one, and then we can start getting the board ready to build. Zeal springs seem to be a lot lighter than what they are advertised. Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Tracer Base says, did Top Clack give an opinion on T1s? Yeah, I wrote a review on Top Clack website of T1s, my first impressions when I got them. I got some of the prototype smoky ones, and I also got the first round clear ones as well. I actually really like them in terms of the tactility. They feel nice. I didn't have many of the issues that that people suggested with regards to premature actuation in the switches. Mine, I had 8 that were affected out of 200, so I didn't have anywhere near the problems that some people had. I haven't got them in a full build at the minute. I had them in a hotspot build, but I've taken them out since. But I do intend to use them on some builds in the future. I've got a couple of boards coming that I fully intend to use them on. My view on them is that they're pretty much 90 to 95% of a Zelio V2 once you've lubed them up a little bit, but they're definitely not a Holy Panda clone, which is what the claim was originally, purely because they don't have that bottom out that Holy Panda does, because the stem's shorter on the T1s than it is on the Holy Panda switches. Okay. But I do really enjoy them. I do like them. I think they're a great budget tactile switch. So well worth investing in if you like tactiles. I prefer the smoky one to the clear one. I think the clear one's slightly smoother, but the smoky one just looks nicer. And the difference is so negligible that it doesn't really make a difference. Okay. Thank you very much to Talisman Solutions. Another gift sub. Thank you very much, dude. We genuinely appreciate that. Ahab says, oh, nuts, I forgot about the stream. Oh, well, you're here now, dude. That's the main thing. We're only just starting, really. You made it, don't worry. Yep, you're here. Thank you very much, Mr. Green Sappo, for linking the original first impressions that I wrote when I had samples. Jar, I assume that means Jay. Yeah, what are your favourite tactiles? My favourite tactiles are Holy Pandas. I prefer the Yok Reds just because of their looks, but they're very much the same as original Holy Pandas, or otherwise I've actually got Yok Red Pandas in here, and I can probably show you. Just make sure I click on something that's not going to affect the stream. There you go. I've got red Holy Pandas in this board, which is the JO1, the second build, the JO1 with the brass plate. So there we go. Okay, thoughts on Helios? I actually quite like them. I've got them in, well, my wife's got them in her Zephyr at the moment. She complains they're too quiet, so if you want a quiet switch, they are really quiet. She's actually asked me to rebuild that with a louder switch, if you can go figure. She uses them in the office. Don't know if I should go Helios, Telios, or Vintage Blacks to build in my M60A. Get a couple. The thing is with the M60A is it's hot swap, so get a couple and try them all out. See what you like, see what you don't like. The aftermarket will buy the ones you don't use off you for pretty much cost, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. And Talisman gives another tier 1 sub to Kiwi, so Tracer Base and Kiwi as well. Thank you very much. Tracer Base drops 300 bits. Thank you for being so friendly and answering questions. I'll answer any questions you guys can ask. Ahab says, how long do things typically get held in customs for you? Asking for a friend. It depends. Usually it depends on where things come from. If it comes from the EU or the US, a day, if that. And by EU, I mean Europe, not necessarily the European Union. So if it came from Sweden, for example, outside of the European Union, but in the EU, about a day. If it comes from Korea or China, it depends on how it was sent. If it comes from KBD fans, it doesn't get held at all. If it comes from, for example, TGR, or if it comes from Kin, which this one has, I've seen people take up to 2 weeks to get it through customs. So it all just depends. There's no straight answer, but usually it's quite quick. Usually it's just a couple of days. Okay, so we're going to pop these into this board now. So in terms of the build, we're going to replicate the build we have on the previous layout. So we're going to have backspace, enter, and spacebar for where the stabilizer is going to go. And we're going to build it exactly the same layout as this. Kiwi says they got gifted a sub in Nathan Kim's stream and here. Wow, nice. Talisman is a gentleman. He's absolutely fantastic. Might just go with Helios because I need a quiet switches for work. Yeah, looped Helios are really good. Yeah, that's what I did for the wife's one. She complained it's too quiet, so there you go. Yeah, do try them before you loop them, as looped Helios suggested. Do try them first before you loop them. Might be alright. You might like them. I'll be looking at boxes tomorrow. Oh, right, okay. If you're... Oh... If this is what I think it is, Ahab, it won't get stuck in customs because it's not coming from a company, because it's just coming from a person and it's not coming from a company. It won't get stuck at all, as long as you don't declare the value being like a stupid amount. If you put like $30 on it or something, then it'll be fine. So yeah, okay. Let's get the stabilizer into the board. So as I said, we're going to build with full backspace, not split backspace. This PCB does support both. Just going to screw these in. So again, when you're screwing these in, guys, you just want to do them just tight enough so that it's just closing on the PCB and it's holding it in place. You don't want to be over tightening, risk damaging the stabilizer or the actual PCB. Just finger tight. You know, it needs to hold it in place, but you don't want to be over tightening it. So as soon as you start to feel a little bit of resistance, do half a turn more and then leave it at that. Okay, that's now the backspace in place. We're now going to move on to the ISO enter. Okay, that's now in position. And we're going to screw these in. Make sure that's nice and tight and nice and even on the PCB. Do a second one for the ISO enter. It's always worthwhile when you're screwing these in, guys, to make sure you're not going to short a couple of components out. Here, there's none of the screws actually touch any of the components or multiple components, so we're okay. There we go. And then just in terms of the space bar, I'm just going to cheat a little bit, make sure I get this in the right place by lining it up with here, and then we can see where we want to put the space bar. So it looks like we're going just there. Flip this over. You can see we're counting 1 and then there, and we're counting 1 and then there. So that's the space bar in the right place. If I align them up, you can see that we've got the space bar in the same position. Ahab says, are you using the stock springs in them? Do they still have crunch? Early in it's had. Oh, smooth, it was just spring kind of. Okay, yeah, fair enough, okay. I'm not a fan of, I'm not a John Travolta fan, but with time I may become a John Travolta Phantom 49 fan. Fair enough, I like that, Talisman, that's very well worded, very clever. Oh, and I just realised that Talisman gave John Travolta 49 a gift sub, so apologies I missed that. Thank you very much. That's really cool. Jay, do you have a jar of 205 grade 0 like Nathan? I'm actually almost out of 205 grade 0. I don't have a jar of it now. I probably do need to get one. I have smaller. I've got a drawer full of lube. I'll show you. So these are all the lubes I use on a regular basis. I've got some more I don't use in some other drawers, but you know, I've kind of got tubs of all different stuff in there. Some from Store Uni, some from Krellbit, some from other stock shops, some from Sprit, just all over the place. Those are the ones I use on a regular basis. Okay, so that's all 3 of the stabilizers popped in. We're just going to lay the plate over the top, make sure it fits. Okay, so we can see there that fits nicely over the top. Now we're ready to start popping our switches in. So just to talk about the switches again, these are Novel Keys cream switches. So this is a fully POM switch, so it's POM housing, POM slider. The spring, obviously stainless steel. I've changed these for 78 gram springs, I think. Yes, 78 gram springs. So they're a little bit heavier than what the stock ones are. I think the stock ones are 67. The springs have been lubed with Krytox 106, and the stems and the housing have been lubed with with PTFE lube basically, and both had 2 coats. Stock springs are 70 grams. Thanks, Ahab. Yeah, something like that. So there we go. Ahab says, so I didn't catch it. What colour is this 268? This is a silver 268. So here's the top piece. There we go. Now, I do have some plans for this that may make it stop being silver. Mr. Chris Swires has put me on to something that I'd previously used for other DIY hobbies. But I'll be having a look with some Gilder's wax and paste. See if I can get a bit of a different look and feel on it. I've been trying this out, so this is a bit of a... I'm going to show you this in a second. So this is an old 5-degree build with aliasing, which is horrible, but what I've been doing is I stripped the anode off of this board, and what I've been doing is I've been applying it. So I don't know if you can, this is one layer, guys, so I don't know if you can see how that shines in the light, kind of golden of this wax just at the front, and then on the underside you can see you can try staining and stuff with it and stuff. So I'm just working out how many layers I need and stuff using this as a test board. Once I've done that, I'm actually going to try it over the top of the anodization on the other one. But I'm broadly confident it'll look quite nice once it's done. Are they 78p or standard? They're not progressive, Mr. Petrov, they're just standard ones, they're the gold ones. In fact, I think I have them here. Yep, there we go, 78 gram springs. Split springs. These are the remainder. I lubed the whole bag because I was just doing them one by one. So these are all lubed, and these are my spare ones with 106 on. There we go. What if my plate doesn't fit over a PCB mounted spacebar? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, but let me know. Kiwi says, are you in the EU? If you are, feel for you, man, as I'm in the EU and this hobby is mostly North America based. Yes, I'm in the EU, I'm in the UK. I live in a small town called Shelf, which is near Halifax, which is near Leeds, or between Leeds and Manchester, if anyone knows the UK very well. So yeah, I'm here. I find it fine. I've got a fair collection of stuff that you can see around on the walls. I build a stream every single week, design my own board, get pretty much whatever I need key set wise. You know, it's possible, yeah. So you just lube the springs and the creams? No, I've done the housings as well. So the springs are lubed with Krytox 106. The housings are done with PTFE lube. 2 coats on the housing and 2 coats on the stem. Basically, it's a lube that dries off and leaves the PTFE behind. So you get the brush in the solution, you put it all over the stem, for example, you let it dry, and then you go back and do it over the stem again. So I just do all the stems once, let them dry, do all the stems a second time, do all the housings once, let them dry, do all the housings a second time. So there we go. For a second time there, I thought Jay said, my drawers are full of lube, leaving me to wonder, albeit briefly, just exactly what sort of British, what sort of activities British partake in on a typical Sunday afternoon. Cultural differences. Well, just be glad I don't leave these cameras on all the time, guys. That's all I'll say. Okay, so just going to put a couple of these switches in the plate first, and then we're going to see how these fit into the PCB. So these are quite tight. Into the plate. These are quite loose in the PCB, even though these are PCB mount switches. They've got this extra leg on. So given that, I'm broadly confident that we can probably put them into the plate first and then worry about them going into the PCB afterwards. Just going to try popping a few in randomly around the board first. Okay, yeah, I think we're completely fine to worry about putting the PCB on after. So I'm just going to make sure we can get these switches in the plate. And then we'll come back to doing that. Sorry, ordered GMK screwing stabs and Reddit said spacebar wouldn't work with a Star 68 place. G&K screw and stabs fit onto the PCB. The plate for the Star 68 I think only works with plate mounted stabilizers unless you get a different plate made up. I think you have to have a secondary plate made. That may have been what they were suggesting. As a Brit, Jay is unlikely to need lube. Well, Mr. Petrov, that's not the conversation for a live stream. Okay. These are really, really tight in this plate, actually. Oh. I will be glad to see the trend moving away from switch top opening plates. I'm not a fan of these. I think very few people actually use switch top opening, so I'll be glad when that does die out. And these are quite loose, so I'm hoping that this all lines up. Ooh. I've got a little fly, I don't know if you guys can see that. There we go, got him. Okay, that's all lined up nice and neatly there. Let's carry on pushing these switches in. Okay. I might just grab something soft so I can push down onto the desk with them. Give me a second. Okay. There we go. This way I can push down on these quite firmly and not worry about stabbing the desk underneath. Very satisfying click into the plate. Yeah, these switches are quite tight to go into the plate, but once they're in, they're in. Which is nice. What's my favourite keyboard right now? The J01, purely because it's my personal custom. Designed by myself, turned into an actual proper CAD design by Teslatron. And then it's something that I had made from a manufacturer, and I've just finished running a small group buy for the second round of prototypes. This is prototype number 1, and 14 other people have joined me in getting prototype number 2 made. So very soon there'll be 16 of these boards in total floating around. Okay, Gaza says, hey, current favourite switch. I'd have to go for the Inks linears if I had to pick any switch right now. Sorry, I missed that one. If you don't mean what's my favourite keyboard that's mine, probably the TMO50 would get my vote, or the Alice, because I love the Alice. I think you can just see the Alice just here. The TMO50 is just there. These do snap into the plate rather nicely. Making sure this is all aligned properly as I'm putting them in. Given how tight these are, I'm not sure I want to risk bending any pins. There we go. Yeah, Inks for linears and tactile poly pandas. Yeah, you're spot on. I'd probably say out of the two, I'd just pick Inks at the minute. What's a board that I don't have and would really want? I don't have a Jing V2, which I would like. But probably the number 1 board that I'm looking for right now is a number 1 TKL, preferably with an FR4 ISO plate. That's kind of what I would probably look for. There's a couple of boards I'd probably put up to trade towards that one because that's kind of my endgame TKL at the minute. Nathan says mine. Yeah, he's got exactly the board I want. He knows it. He knows it. He's got me over a barrel if he ever wants to offload that. Jet wants a HB85. I would like a HB85 because I do like them, but it's not top of the list. What about the number 2? Yeah, I would like the number 2, but the problem is it doesn't support ISO, so that kind of leaves me a little bit stuck. I do have a TKL that doesn't support ISO already, and it's probably one of the nicest boards I own. Like, genuinely, the quality is amazing. It's fantastic. It's well up there in terms of the quality of the boards I own, and the sound is amazing, and I absolutely adore the thing. But I struggle with it because I can't have it as ISO layout, and that's the Vern. It's just here. So yeah, it's that's the reason why I wouldn't go for the number 2 right now. Even though I love the design, I don't want another board that I just put on a shelf and don't even rotate into usage. So there we go. Mr. Gunsep is right. He says that Telia is ever so slightly smoother than Inks, but the sound of Inks is much deeper. Yes, the Inks do sound nicer. The difference once they're lubed is so minimal that it's not even worth worrying about, in my honest opinion right now. Met Advice Guy is here as well. Hey man, subscribe for 4 months, currently on a 4-month streak. Thank you very much, dude. Under 2 weeks to the meetup. Yes, the UK meetup is in less than 2 weeks. So it's not this Saturday coming, it's the Saturday after. I'm looking dead forward to it. I don't know if you guys can see, but I've just got myself a new case just behind there. That's going to fit 8 or 9 boards in it, I think. Currently it's only got 1 in, it's got the Zephyr in there at the minute, but the VEA, the Alice, the J01, the J Mini, the TMO50, they're all going to come along, as well as some other bits and pieces. The Satisfaction 75 that I'll be building on stream next week, that'll be coming along as well. I need to figure out how I'm going to bring boards to Seattle. Get a Pelican case like I did, because they're really, really good. Talisman Solution says, hype, 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 hype. Yeah, I can't wait for the UK meetup. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really good. I've actually got a segment where I'm going to do a bit of a talk and get some known members of the UK community, such as Pexon from Pexon Cables and Zondat from Noxary, up on stage and have a bit of a chat and do kind of Top Clack content but live, which should be quite interesting. In fact, that's a good name for it, Top Clack Live. Yeah, maybe. TMO50, so jealous. Yeah, it's a lovely board. It's genuinely lovely. Starson, are you coming to KeyCon or Seattle? I know Brian is. I would love to get there, but honestly, the money is just going to absolutely beat me. Anarchy, I think in total, so I think if everything turns up and I bring everyone's prototypes that they've asked me to take, I think I'm taking 14 boards. So there we go. Lewd Helios, I meant live as in the flesh, like on stage kind of thing, not live as on just on the net. Yeah. Is it fair to say the Brutal 60 Iconic Blue is the greatest keyboard case colour ever made? No, it's nice, but it's not. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, you pass. I love the Brutal 60 colour, but there are other colours I prefer. But I'm still excited to get mine. I still haven't seen it in the flesh, so maybe I'll change my mind when I see it in the flesh. That is wrong. Categorically wrong. Is it objectively wrong? You are a sinner. Okay. I did just say I have to see what it looks like when I get it in real life. You guys are lucky. You're all in the US. You get your Canon Keys products pretty much immediately. I've got to wait for mine to ship across the bloody ocean. So don't bring that one on me. Have you seen some of my pictures? I have. Yours are the ones with Yuri on it. Your pictures actually made me want to get a set of Yuri because it's one GM case that I don't own currently. So be thankful for that. How could anyone miss them? Yeah, they've been spammed around. Might be taking 9 if you have the space. Yep. I think my case might actually be the same as yours, Anarchy. I remember seeing yours at the last meetup when we shared a hotel in London. Is there any chance that Top Clack will have low bitrate options for the stream? My connection is slow and shared with other people, so I'm stuck with tons of buffering right now. You should be able to change the viewing options from 1080p down to 480p. The bitrate option that I get given in Streamlabs OBS is to put it to the highest, which I have to do for 1080p broadcasts, which is what we're broadcasting in right now. We're going for stepped caps lock because that's what I have on the other build and that's what I've got the keycaps ready for. And of course split left shift because it's ISO layout. Okay. And then I'm just going to grab and work out where my switches need to go for this bottom row. So I'm just looking at the previous plate. So we've got 1.25U just there, and then we've got 1.25U just there, and then again only one option for that one. Then over on the other side, 1.25U goes there, nice and tight in the plate, and then only one option. There we go. And then spacebar for 6.25U has to go just there. There we go, 2 switches spare, don't need those. Don't need that just yet. That's all the switches in place. Just having a look now, make sure everything's nice and even, so the switches are pressed firmly up against the PCB on all edges. Just need to hold that one in place, I think, there whilst we solder it. I think we're all good on that front. Yeah, okay, last side. Just that other top corner, just needs pinning in place as we solder it. That's nice and easy to do. And with that, it's time to solder the board. Okay, just catch up and see what's going on. My only option is 1080p. I only see a 1080p option, so it might not be working properly. Oh, only partners have transcoding. There you go. We aren't partnered yet. We are affiliated but not partnered. As soon as we get affiliates, then I shall definitely take a look into that. You mean Birmingham? Yes, I have 2 of those cases. Now got a new one, but with trains and buses with 2 of those. Yes, it was Birmingham. Sorry, I do forget. They all run into one anarchy. I do apologise. If I remember correctly, I have some partner level at Twitch. As affiliates, only available if resources are there from Twitch, because once we have a partner, it will always be available, being worked on. Okay, there we go. So my neighbours have something hijacking their internet and it's ruining mine. They're constantly using half of its time of the day. Oh, that sucks, man. That sucks. You get whatever Twitch assigns you when your stream starts, if you're not a partner, from what I understand. Sometimes there isn't much load on the server you're streaming to. You can get the ability to change the quality. Okay. Happened to me a few times. Look under video transcodes. I'll have a look at some point. What solder do I use? I ordered some 6337 from Kester. Is that okay? That's exactly what this is. This is a roll of Kester solder. 6337. Grog DX, I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry you can't watch. You could just listen to my lovely dulcet tones if that helps. Transcoding means that it resamples in real time simultaneously and therefore requires more bandwidth overall to stream in every bit rate at the same time. That makes a little bit more sense. I have no knowledge of all of these techie details. Okay, so we're just going to pin the corners in first. As I mentioned, these just need a little bit of pressure just to make sure it's all level and even. So I'm just going to solder all of the corners, giving them a bit of pressure. And then I'll solder a couple of switches in the middle of the board. And then we'll go from there. Okay. There we go. Just coming down to this bottom corner. There we go. Just going to do a couple of switches in the middle. That's one. And that's two. Okay, great. Just going to take a break a second. I'm losing my voice a little bit. Grog says, yeah, not your fault. That's what I get for living rural and using wireless point-to-point internet. Oh, I'm sorry, man. It's just one of those things. You can always watch our VODs afterwards. That might be easier for you because you can leave that to download a little bit and buffer before you watch it. So yeah. Yeah, not from our side yet. Not something we can control, sadly, yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to go row by row, start to solder these switches in. This bit's kind of close to the USB port, so I'm just paying a little bit of extra attention just on this pin here. Okay, and then we're just going to work our way across the board. Just going to reflow that one a touch. Take it nice and steady. Interesting thing about the cream switches as well is they actually have pins on the bottom of different material. I think one's a zinc compound and the other one's copper compound, which is quite interesting. I'm not quite sure why that is. I'll show you guys. Don't know if this will show up, but you can see that the legs are slightly different colours. One's kind of silvery, one's kind of golden. I think they're zinc and copper. Okay. Almost done with this first row, guys, and then we'll crack on. Just about to come up towards where backspace is on the top row. Okay. Almost there now, and there we go. That's that row done. How was your first time soldering? Is it hard? It's not hard at all. It's something that definitely gets easier with practice. My first soldering, the first couple of switches were terrible, but I didn't damage anything. To this day, I've only ever lifted one pad or trace, and that was last week on stream, putting LEDs in a board and just having to clip the legs. I pulled the trace out. But that's literally the only time I've ever damaged a PC in over 120, 130 keyboard builds now. So soldering is just something that you learn. It's like anything. It's like learning to chop vegetables as a chef. You know, you start slow, you get your technique right, and then as long as your technique's right, the speed comes later on. I mean, if I wanted to, I could go a fair bit faster than this, but it's all about making sure that everything's accurate and looks nice and is correct. So you can see you can start to build up speed and you know, go as fast as you like, really. But at the end of the day, with stuff like this, it's nicer to just take your time a little bit, understand what you're doing, know that you're doing the right things for the right reasons, and just enjoy the experience. But soldering is not difficult. It's an easy skill to learn, and once you've got the skill, it's useful for other things as well. I do a lot of work on cars. You wouldn't believe how many times you get a situation where you need to solder something on cars and it's difficult to get in, it's difficult to reach, it's difficult to see, and just having that knowledge of how to solder really helps. Okay. One of the hardest things I've still ever done is soldered all the joints on a race car, because man, you worry about those. One of my friends raced a Caterham 7 a couple of years back. We built a car together from scratch, just got it as a kit. Trying to solder all of his electronics, that was a bit of an eye-opening experience. Okay. I would advise you to practice on a less special board before you embark on something, doing it to much coveted raffle win. If you're not about less than soldering, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, use something that you haven't you know, you haven't got any particular attachment to. You can buy soldering kits. UPass at Canon Keys has a really good I can't remember what it's called now, Simple 60 something like that, but it's really good to learn with. Might get a dirt cheap PCB numpad thing. Yep, have a go. Classy's here as well. Hey man, good to see you, dude. Get quality iron as well. Jay's preference is the TS100, but you can look at a number of various places' preferred tools and equipment lists. Yeah. Yep, Tay Haytaps has a link or two in his Twitch panel. Yep, go for that. Such a coincidence, I got a TS100 as well. I have the same soldering things as Jay. It's a good one, yeah. I love this soldering iron. It's great. You can put custom firmware on it. I got this one because it matches the colour of one of my cars. You know, but you can get it's dead easy to use. Tips are interchangeable. You can get multiple tips. Yeah, dead easy to look after. Yeah. Practice 60. That's it. Practice 60. Thanks for the show. No worries, man. No worries. Yeah. Any soldering practice PCB in Europe? There will be. If you hit me up afterwards, I might even have a spare 60% when I can send you. You can practice on it. Tasman says, I manually rewired both Triumph TR6 and an MGB to replace all of the Lucas electrical parts with industrial quality parts. Yeah, that's a lot of work in that. That's soldered versus crimped connections. Yeah, when we were building that particular caterum, we wanted to make sure that everything was as secure as possible. So what we tend to do is we tend to just over-solder everything and then wrap it in electrical tape afterwards. But it worked fine for every race. There's never been a fault, and it's a road car now, and it's still going strong. So whatever we did it right. We did it well. It was a couple of years ago now. But it was actually a championship-winning car. If you Google Caterham Academy 2016 in the UK, my friend Stephen Tozer, his car Sweet Clem, again another orange car, that was the one that we built together. There's two groups, white and green group, but if you search for one of them, Stephen Tozer was the winner of one of the groups. I think it was 2016. Okay, we've got up to where we did the switches in the middle now, so now we're progressing. Or if you guys Google Stephen Tozer actually in Caterham, you'll probably find pictures of the skinny little boy. But he's a good lad. He's a really good lad. Okay. Making good progress now, guys. Almost at the end of this particular row. And then we've just got 2 more rows to go. And then we can test the board. And then once we've tested it, we can put some keycaps on it, pop it back in the case, and then we can do our sound typing test. Okay. Bingo. Sweet. What stream is that in your background? I don't know. It's one of these lo-fi things. I don't really know which one it is. The music's alright. I kind of like it. It's relaxing. It's nicer than just having a stream without music in the background. I hope you guys can hear it, actually. It's probably a little bit lower than it usually is, sound volume-wise. So if you guys can hear it, that's good. If not, I'll turn it up a little bit. Okay. Ice returns, how's it going? Jay is talking more than he works. Yeah, I do, yeah. Are you going to use a power source that comes with the TS100? I am using the power source that came with the TS100 from Amazon UK, yes. It was just what came with it. It had a UK plug on it, so it's been just fine ever since I got it. I've not had any issues with it whatsoever. And I've been using it for about a year now, and it gets used every week, every Sunday without fail for a build stream, so it's been doing well. I think I'm on the 3rd tip though now. Okay. Almost there now, guys. Okay, just one more row to do after this one. I usually do this row and the bottom row together, but I don't know why I haven't today. We're almost there now. Okay. Dubstep acid jazz. UK is 220 volts. Yes, it is. Yeah, it is 220 volts. 3-pin plug. Actually, it's the other way around. It's like that. 3 pins and 2 at the bottom, 1 at the top. TS80 uses USB-C, could be more better solution, and you don't have to think about what adapter you get. It's true, but I think the TS100 is a better soldering iron, all told. If I was to buy one or the other, it would be definitely the TS100. I have both. I don't really like the TS80. I think the 100 is a much better iron. But that could just be familiarity with the tool, to be honest, rather than the actual quality of the other one. Making sure I get the right points to solder here. Okay, almost there now for the soldering. Just another couple of minutes and we'll be done. Okay, one more switch to go. Okay, there we go. Done. Roger, listen to dear leader. TS80 does require a quick charge adapter from what I've heard, so that's something to keep in mind. Yes, it does, but you can use it with USB-C straight into a wall power plug socket if you've got one. If you've got a USB to full USB to USB-C, you can just plug it into the wall. That kind of works, or it's how I've used mine in the past. You can also power it from a portable electric power bank as well. Doesn't TS100 work on 12 volts? No idea, if I'm honest, Luke. I just use the power bank that came with it, and that's how I use it. I don't know enough about it to be able to give you any more of an answer than that. But there we go, guys. That's everything plugged in and soldered. What I'm going to do now is just plug the board in, and then once we plug the board in, we'll just make sure all of the keys are working. Move my soldering iron out of the way, and then we can get that cable going like so. Okay, let me get up the switch hitter and then we can show you guys what's happening. Okay, so you guys should be able to see that on stream now. Let's change it. Oh no, it's in ISO. There we go. Okay, so let's give this a whirl and see what's working. So escape 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, dash, plus, and backspace are all working just fine. Page up, page down, delete. That is FN, so we'll come back to that. Arrows all working just fine there. Come along the next row. This is a QWERTY row. Everything's working just fine. Caps lock's working. Okay, board has been programmed previously for full UK ISO layout as well, so everything looks okay from that perspective. Control, Win, Alt, space, Alt, Control. There we go. And I think. Is that print screen? There we go, print screen. So that just proves that the FN key is working as well. So all working 100%. Really, really happy with that. Looks classy as fuck with that cream and gold. It does. It looks really nice, doesn't it? How nice is that? It does look really good. Looks really nice. That's a nice cable. This is an old telephone cable that Max from Cable Car Designs turned from a telephone cable into a USB cable for me because he's a legend. Brass and cream go very well together. They do indeed. Let's get rid of switches. There we go. Is it from an old phone? It is from an old phone. Yeah, it's an old phone cable. You're going to like it, Jay. Thank you. I hope you do. I don't know what I'm going to like, but thank you. There we go. So there we go, guys. That looks really, really nice. The XPOP AJ22, no, they're not stock. They are lubed with PTFE. And additionally, I've also lubed the springs with Krytox 106. And the springs have been changed to 78 gram sprit springs. The creams and brass. Oh yeah, I do like the creams and brass. I think it looks great. In terms of the feel, you'll see when I put it together. There we go. Look how good it looks in that light when it's shining. Wrong way. Excuse the fingerprints. I'll clean it up later on. Okay, so that's all of that put together. We will be taking the keycaps from the previous build shortly. What we're going to do now is we're just going to screw the plate into the case. Just going to drop that in place. these tight Zondat tolerances. Maybe I have to go in the other way. There we go. All looking good from that perspective. There we go. Okay. Again, we're just going to go diagonally or diametrically opposed, as Brits like to say. Just going to put the first one in there. That's nice. And then we're going to come back over to the other side. Just screw down there. There we go, that's held in place now. And up into this top corner. Dry lubed, yes, they're dry lubed with the PTFE. Yeah, PTFE dry lube. 2 coats on both the housing and on the stems. I feel like 2 coats just gives it a little bit of a nicer feel. Okay, this is where I wished I'd used magnetic screws for this, because the holes that fit these screws in are quite small. Again, when you tighten these screws, we're only going finger tight. We're making sure there's no movement. We're not trying to tighten so that you're never going to get them undone again. Only going so tight that they're just finger tight. Last thing we want to do is over tighten something and risk damaging a thread or otherwise. Why don't you guys have sub badges yet? Top Clack, I can help out. Sub badges are something we are looking at. It's something we've got some ideas for. We haven't actually implemented any as yet, but you're right, it's something we should do. We've got a list of a lot of ideas we want to change around for Top Clack, logos and such, so we are definitely looking at them. If you are a designer and you want to reach out to us, though, feel free to drop me a pin on Discord, and Brian and I have a chat with you. We're more than happy to do that. Okay, this last screw in, and then we can start to put the case together. Okay. Now remember, guys, as we said before, we did have problems with this hole up here. As you can see, there's a little bit of dirt around there. I don't know if I can show it, but there's a little bit of dirt around the hole. I think that's all come out of there since we've used it. So I'm not going to put a screw into that one. I'm going to retap that post-show and make sure it's all fitting together nice and neatly before I take it to the meetup in the UK. Okay, that's the case all put together. I'm going to have to use this longer screwdriver, because my good screwdriver doesn't fit in these holes. So there we go. That's one. Come up to the top over here. That's one. There we go. Work our way down over this side. Not using that as messed up my going diametrically opposed, but we'll be alright. Okay. Almost there now, guys, with these. Okay. And then last one should be just in the middle at the top, yeah. And then, as I say, we're just going to leave that one in the top right corner just until I can clean out the thread a little bit. I don't want to get anything stuck in there like I did earlier on. So there we go, that's the board all put together and built. Don't need that anymore. There we go, guys. This is a Noxary 268AG with brass and cream. And now I'm just going to take these keycaps and pop them from one board onto the other. And I'll try and catch up to chat. So if you guys have got any questions, anything you want to know, any questions that I can answer about the boards, about the UK meetup, about anything else, I'll start getting them in chat now. Now's your time to pop them in chat. I don't know how we're doing viewer-wise or anything like that. I haven't got any numbers open. 65 people, nice. Okay. I do find that DSA keycaps can be quite finicky to get on caps that require a stabilizer. Okay. I do kind of like how this set looks with the cream switches though. Again, props to Mr. Chris Swires for knocking it out of the park with DSA Alchemy. There is a DCS version coming soon. Chris is working on that right now. Well, maybe not this second, but he is working on DSA Alchemy as his next keycap set. And I think he's got some new ideas as well for future options. So watch this space. And in other news as well, GMK MAGA, that was my set, it was a joke, is going to become GMK Americana, as I covered on Top Clack on Thursday night. So Jan Lad is in the process of doing me some renders for that, so watch this space for GMK Americana soon. Not spoilers, more secrets. More people know about these things, the better, I think. But yeah, DCS Alchemy is going to be a thing, so you can finally get a proper sculpted version of DSM Alchemy. Damage compose equals counter diagonally equals rotationally counter opposing equals cross corresponding non-sequential equals counter crosswise. Okay, I think I'm going to go with a cross corresponding non-sequential going forward. Zui says, I have a board ordered with a brass plate. Is it super phenomenal to add lubes creams? I was just going to lube the springs. I think they're better with a bit of lube on them. I think I prefer the PTFE lubes to anything like 205 grade 0 or anything like that. But I definitely lube the springs as well. You've got to get rid of as much spring ping as you can. And lube is the best way to do that. Okay. This is always the longest part of any stream, putting the keycaps on, especially when I've got to take them off another board. So I apologise, guys. I'm going to get my wire keycap puller out. These ones have got rubber bits on, so they're soft on keycaps, so there's no risk of scratching these. But for the ISO one, I'm going to get my wire keycap puller out. It's just a little bit bigger. The longest part of any stream. Well, any of my streams, it's the longest part. ISO Return says, where to get 106 in the EU? eBay. eBay. Where's the fast forward button? Watch the VOD, Ahab. Watch the VOD. I'm going to take, if and when I get to build your Elephant S7, I'm going to take forever to keycap that board, just so you're aware. Why not get it from Store Unit? You can get it from Store Unit, but if you want an EU source, eBay's the best bet. Zee says, I wish you lived in the USA, Joe. Why do you wish I lived in the USA, man? Why? Oh, you need your Tez board built. Hey, you can ship it to me. I will build it. That's not a problem at all. Ahab and I are coming to an agreement where I will do just that for him. I don't mind building other people's boards. Most of my builds are my own boards, I'll be honest. I'd say it's rare I do a customer build. I've been doing more than ever lately, but yeah, if you really do want something building, reach out to me, let me know. There should be a German seller on eBay. Yeah, I can dig out the details when I get off stream. If you ping me, ISO returns, and let me know. I've used them a number of times for different loops, 104, 105, 106, and some of the 205s as well. So if you just ping me, I'll do it. You'll pay me in artisans. Yes, I take, as you might gather from my other board just here, I'm happy to be paid in Keypora sculpts. I have a few more. I like Keyporas. There we go. Store Uni is based in Malaysia. Had no idea. Yes, it is based in Malaysia. Yep. And hello, Toby, as well. Okay, almost there now, guys. This is where you can see how filthy this one is after being in use for probably the best part of a year now. To be honest, it's not that bad. I've seen far worse. I'll just see if I can get this off with my fingers. Oh, yeah, there we go. No need to use the wire keycap puller. There we go. So put that build to one side. So this is, as I say, DSA Alchemy on the Noxary 268AG with cream switches, brass plate, and brass weight. There's one screw missing from the case just up in this top corner. Just need to go back and retap that hole, but that's a dead easy job. I can do it after the stream. And at some point in the near future, I'm going to infill the logo on here just in black. So I may do that later on tonight, maybe tomorrow. I'll definitely take some pictures and show you guys. I've got some nice black 3.0 paint to do that with. So I'm looking forward to getting that done. DCS Alchemy sounds nice. Mr. DSA one. I think it's still available, Titan. I think you can still get it. Now that Novel Keys is stock in Crytox 206, has anyone tried using it on stabs? No, I haven't, but I would like to. I would like to do it. Talisman says it looks great. It does look lovely. It's just a great little travel board. It's nice and thin bezels. It's, well, I say travel board, it's quite hefty actually. Probably wouldn't want to travel with it. The silver's nice. The keycap set's nice. It works well. The brass shining through is good. The brass with the cream switches looks great. Looks excellent. So yeah. Would advise against 3203 on stabs. Yeah, I'd go for dielectric grease any day of the week. It's the best thing I've found so far. Heard bad rep about Store Uni a bunch of times, but never did order from them. But they're also in Southeast Asia. I think that'd be good for cheap shipping to me. And higher top Clack baby. Hello. Yeah, I've used Store Uni. I have had no problems with them. I've used Krellbit. I have no problems with him or his stuff. I've also used UK suppliers and EU suppliers for lubes, and they've all been fine. So I've had no issues with any of them. WizBlue, waiting to hear how the dry PTFE creams will sound. Yeah, well, we'll do a bit of a sound test in a second. I'll mute the music in the background. Shazam, there we go. I'm just going to have a drink because I'm gasping. Zui with the DSA Alchemy key set order. Nice, good work, dude. It is a lovely set. I've had this for about 4 or 5 months now. I love it, especially on silver keyboards. I think it looks great. But we're going to do a quick typing test. Please, guys, no comments on my typing. I know it's not the best. I know it's not perfect. It's horrible. It's a crappy technique. But it works for me. It's fine. So please, no comments on that. This is a Noxary 268AG, number 13 of 22, with DSA keycaps on cream switches. The creams have been springs brought to 78 gram sprit springs, lubed with Crytox 106, and then the stems and switch themselves being lubed with dry PTFE powder with 2 coats, and we've got GMK screw-in stabilizers lubed with dielectric grease. There we go. Lots of chat there. I think it sounds quite nice. I think the thing is, I might sound a little bit more hollow than normal because I don't have a desk mat down. I'm just on my desk today. Normally I do type on a desk mat, so that's probably affecting sound a little bit. Can I hit the spacebar a little harder with your finger? How's that? There we go. Let's just catch up with what's going on in chat. You type the best way, Jay. Don't let anyone tell you different. It's how you type. People could stuff it. IMO. Yeah, okay. We're 120 minutes word per minute flawless typing. No, I'm not flawless, and I'm about 70 words a minute at the minute. The key is to hit space with as many fingers as possible. Yep. Get a man that handles you like Jay handles his spacebar. Hit the spacebar with your face. Retyping. Yeah, okay. As a fellow member of the index finger typing space gang, I approve of this typing style. Thank you very much. I mean, it's not a bad speed. It's about 70 words per minute. It's not a bad sound. Still prefer how they sound with grease though. Fair. Yeah, that's a fair shout. Yeah. It's unimpressive this type this fast with so much hand movement. Same with you, Pass and Swires. Yeah, Swires is just as bad. In fact, he's worse because quite often he'll change the index fingers. I always hit space with this finger. He will sometimes do this. I just don't know how he copes with that. That's weird as hell for me. But hey, if it works, nothing wrong with that. Here to checking in. Thanks, Pusher. Thanks for that. Band, yeah. Can you hit that spacebar a little bit? Hates harder. Yeah, we tried that. I wonder though what Jay's actually typing here. He doesn't look at text on screen, nor has the keyboard plugged in. Yeah, I'm just typing things from memory usually, and sometimes it's angry emails that I need to send at work. Things that are on my mind usually is what I type for typing tests. It's not plugged in because it doesn't need to be plugged in for a typing test. You're listening to the noise. I'm not like Nathan who can type 120 words per minute. It's super accurately, so I'm not trying to beat any records or anything else. A second hater checking in. Thanks, Loon Twix. Thanks for that, dude. LBI Bass LMAO. He's clearly typing War and Peace. Yeah, it was a little bit long. It sounds a little hollow. Yeah, I think that's because I've not got a mat down on my desk, and I usually do. I've had to put them all in the wash because they were filthy. He's writing Jay is awesome over and over. I think I only wrote my name once in there, and that was when I was finishing the email of the email in my head. It's DSA sound. DSA is thin. I don't think DSA is too thin. Probably just hitting random keys. Yeah. Jay's all about effectiveness. He looks effective to me. We should all be so lucky. I do like to be effective, and I like to be productive. I feel like ISO enters always sound good. They do. Weirdly, it sounds less hollow than the backspace. Sound and video is off for me. Yeah, what you're seeing down here is if I raise my arm up, you'll see that there's a slight delay. The delay should be on that camera, not on this top camera. And that's just because this camera films in 4K and then it has to be downsized to 1080p and I can't change it, so it's one of those things. I do the same as Jay. Oh gosh, what's this link? Have a look. 113 words per minute, that's pretty impressive if you can do that. Well done, dude. Swires has long fingers, he does, yeah. From head, yeah. Improvisational, cross-corresponding, non-sequential grease strokes, fair enough. He's writing a post hating on all the haters, yeah. Those DSA, how is it typing on them? I prefer sculpted key sets, I'll be honest. The main reason I got this is because DSA Alchemy is made by Chris and he's a really good friend of mine. That's what made me order it because it looks great and it looks fantastic. But I do struggle to type on DSA, especially on a shallow keyboard. I think the angle on this board's only 7 degrees, so it's quite shallow. I don't know what that is there. So yeah, I do struggle with a flat profile key set. I do prefer cherry key sets, but I do have a few DSA sets. But yeah. Okay, so that is the Noxary 268 AG. I'm probably going to go off stream and just fill the insert in with this. I need to get some tools out of the garage to do that, and just fill the weight in with some acrylic paint. DSA is second to cherry to me. Yeah, I'd say I prefer cherry and then OEM. I think if I had to, no, in fact no, I'd say cat. Cherry, then cat, and then probably OEM, then DSA. DCS is a nice sculpt, but it's too thin. So we go. Cherry PBT caps, that's still cherry profile, but PBT, yeah, I'm not a fan of PBT. I find that it's rougher than ABS, and maybe that's partially what I don't like with this, I don't know, but I do prefer ABS. But Cat is really good, yeah. Okay, thanks for the stream. Yep, you're also you're realising that I'm about to wind down now. Yeah, so that's the board built and done. It's all working. It's now ready for the meetup. I'll probably just retap that screw in the top corner. That'll take me 5-10 minutes to do after the stream, and I'll take some pictures and get some pictures online shortly of the board. But yeah, thank you very much for your time this evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking forward to meeting everyone who's coming to the UK meetup. I'm going to try and get over to a US meetup, but again, it's all going to be dependent on money. So we'll see where we get to. Thank you for everyone who's donated bits and gift subscriptions and subscribed this week. Thoroughly appreciate all of that, guys. We couldn't be as strong as we are without you. So thank you very much for that, guys. And I'll see you all again next week. I'll see you on Thursday, and Satisfaction 75 build stream next week, and Brutal 60 build stream next week, and potentially another build stream midweek if my TX60 HHKB shows up. So lots of build streams to come because I want it all ready for the UK meetup. But yeah. Cool. Right, guys. I'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.